Welcome everyone to another episode of the Lancescurv Show. Today we had scheduled Toure matter movement. He is not yet called in yet, so we're going to kind of. I have a lot to speak about my trip to New York City. How much I enjoyed it. It was so much of a eye-opening experience. And when he calls in, we'll cut that. I just spoke with his manager. Picks up. If this goes on a little longer and I think there's a problem, I'll cut it and we'll come back. I'm going to knock out a lot of shows all week. I'm so rejuvenated. I feel so good in my spirit. Knowledge. I'm so thirsty to take things to the next level. A lot of good news. Some things I can tell, some things I can't tell right now, but it's wonderful. One of the funny things that I kind of walked into, I was at the Intercontinental Barclay Hotel Street. Now, I don't know if this is our guest, but let me check if it is. Brother Majay? Maj?
Peace, it's Maj.
Okay. I don't know where I put the Shay in, but sorry about that. Welcome. Wow, you popped in just in time, and I'm going to lock this conference so we don't have any going on. And that's just going to have to be the way it is.
Conference locked.
There we go. Now we'll have no. 1 second, please.
Okay.
Let me get this sound right. We have a good guest. There's always something going on with the electronics, huh?
You sound good. A little low. If you could turn it up a bit, that'd be cool.
Okay. How about now? I guess it's just a matter of me coming closer to the mic. Yes. Yeah,
yeah, you better.
Okay, good.
I'm
glad to have you here, man. It's a pleasure. I just have to say that you inspired so much when I really dug deep into many of the things that you said. You're known for being the founder of the Black Guns Matter movement, but there's so much more to you as a man. Not a male, but a man.
Thank you.
And I have to take my hat off to
you. I appreciate that.
And I wish we had more men in the community, whether it's our community, meaning the Black community, or just the community abroad, encompassing. This is one thing I have to say I take my hat off to you for also, is that the Black Guns Matter movement is not just a Black thing. It's for everyone. For my listeners, I want to just jump right into this. I want to have you tell us how this all began from the very beginning.
Right. Yeah. Well, basically, we started to see, some of your friends catch the same cases. Wait a minute, why is everybody catching a firearm possession charge? And, are we not allowed to have guns? And then you start seeing, if you travel a bit, you see, some people catch the same cases in different urban areas. Then when you see, okay, there's a solution to this, you start to apply it, and, you share it with people. You say, hey, man, I know you bought the gun legally, but, in your town, you have to have a license to carry. Get one. And then they get it, if they have the follow through. And they tell somebody else, and that person will come back to you and go, yo, you knew something about how to get a license to carry? I said, and what we did was we had a license to carry drive in Philadelphia. And we had such a good response that we were like, okay, let's do this a little bit more. And that's unofficially how Black Guns Matter started.
So when you saw it begin to swell, it's something that I heard you say in the interview, that this is fun for you, that this is not work for you at all, that this is something you can do all day, every day, because you live this. But when it began to swell, was it something that went beyond any expectations? Do you have any expectations to say, well, this is probably something I'll do, but it got really big?
No, because the people from urban environments tell you what they want and what they don't like. When 2 or 3 cities are saying the same thing, oh, we like this. If we go further with this and take it national, it's going to respond, because people from hoods across America, we have similarities, Yes. So no, it wasn't surprising. And also, it's not as large as I envision it right now. Black Guns Matter needs to have a curriculum, having gun ranges, shops, things. I think this is something that we could tremendously use. I mean, we're talking about something that could be a tech space. I want to use Black Guns Matter to create jobs for people, manufacturing, training, instructors, all those different things. jobs. If you got to build another gun range, that's more, construction workers, labor unions and things like that. But and to say that's the goal or the vision that's in my head. But I wouldn't in any way, shape, or form, or take for granted the great times that we're having right now, just being on the tour. It's been lovely, even in some of the smaller cities that we do. So enthused to start learning. So I would never in a million years, forsake that or not appreciate that. Because I mean, it's wonderful. People are literally coming to our classes to get informed about something that can help them defend their belief system. I mean, it's that deep.
Yes.
This is something that helps a person defend what they believe in. And so I'm honored to just, help out and assist and put people on path.
What are some of the cities that you've traveled through and gone on tour in, and what were some of the responses that were most memorable?
Philadelphia, Chicago, Atlanta, Baltimore, Compton, Boston. I mean, just everywhere. We just came back from Grand Rapids, Detroit. We're going to Miami, New Orleans, Houston, Dallas, cities. But the thing that some of the things that are most memorable are just seeing people, their perception change.
Yeah.
People sometimes will be on the fence about it because we don't talk above anybody's head. On top of that, we don't make anybody feel bad for not knowing as much as they think that. Some instructors think that if you don't know such and such, then you're just not about it. But it's like we communicate with people in very layman terms.
Yes.
So seeing people have that perception change or get some answers to some questions that they've had for a very long time, not because they weren't trying to find out, but because they might have felt it was taboo and they didn't even research it further. To have them come to a place and want it, and put them on a path and seeing their faces change. Literally their thought processes are changing. That is hands down the most memorable stuff. It's that feeling, and I get a few of those in every single city we go to. That's what's most memorable.
Wow. How have you been embraced across the board? And I know there's not any one answer. I know that there is sometimes some will beg to do with you. There's stereotypes on both ends and different perceptions that are not too realistic between different communities. How have you been accepted? What has been the perception?
Well, for the law enforcement community, I want to be very clear. Two things. One, I'm not trying to be accepted by the law enforcement community. In the sense of we have just like the law enforcement community doesn't want to be accepted by us. We have a standard and a code of conduct of information training and respect for the law that any law enforcement officer worth their salt, when they start to see what we're doing, this is cool. When you start to, feel like you need to co-sign you, you lose focus on what you're doing.
Right.
So our deeds, not, because we're not flaming and saying, down with all law enforcement. Nah,
right.
That's not our organization. If you follow us on social media, if you thought that's what you was running into, it's wrong. Today, I literally not long ago just posted something about an officer who could have gotten away with a murder, in the sense of this guy was pulling his rifle out of his trunk. He was already told to put his firearm down.
Right.
This particular citizen says, "No, kill me." And he's waving his rifle, and this officer exercised extreme trigger discipline, conflict resolution, apprehended the citizen without having to kill him, and I honor that. The level of objectivity that we have. So when officers see that and they see what we're doing and they get past any preconceived notions that they may have had, I've yet to have one law enforcement, in hundreds of law enforcement officers, I've yet to have one officer say this is bad. I've had officers get on camera and say, "Hey, we need more of what you're doing. I have the footage to prove it." In Chicago, guys that have been on the force for over 20 years, "Hey, we need more people, young people, learn about firearm safety, knowledge, respect for the tool. This is in Chicago, the murder capital.
Wow.
You know, so we get, and officers don't do that. They generally don't get on camera. They don't like it. Our response, not based on because we're pro law enforcement or anti law enforcement. Law enforcement is because we're objective. We're pro Constitution. We're pro professionalism. And every single good law enforcement officer that I run into, if they're being objective and in alignment with justice, have all gotten behind what we're doing. So we don't get those same. Usually you hear people that because they don't know yet, but when they have the conversation or when they come out to one of the the event,
right,
they see. And there's no way that you could deny that if you're being objective. Right. So yeah, we have a good relationship with law enforcement.
You know what it was? I've seen some interviews, and I saw one in particular on the Blaze, and I'm not riding with you just because of that, because one of the young ladies here who's on the show a while back, because I'm on social media big time, but I have so much comes at me, and I was really amazed at how that particular hostess she was almost shocked how you presented yourself. I don't know if there's some kind of expectation, but it seemed as though she had to check herself like, wow, this just makes so much sense. I thought it was going to be something else. Do you get a lot of that? Because people get emotional when they see black, anything guns.
Yeah.
And just like Black Lives Matter, which is a whole totally different thing, people associated with that, and they probably come at you with this preconceived notion that, okay, what does this mean? Shoot up all the white people? I'm just saying it like it is.
Right.
Talk to those folks.
Right. It's sorely misguided because they allowed mass media to, like you said, condition them or give them those preconceived notions.
Right.
I remove that with one conversation. If you talk to me and you can get exactly what I mean, even on my social media, I try individually, me as one part of our organization, I try to be extremely transparent. Coming from the people know where it's going and where it's coming from. It's the same with, my position. Listen, I do not deal in extremes. If you are about the middle path and about balance and justice, officer, and if you're a scumbag, I'm gonna say you are a scumbag. You're not fit to wear that uniform.
Right.
If you from the hood and you're a scumbag, I'm gonna say, yo, you a scumbag. You know what I mean? Your employment or lack thereof or whatever does not determine. It's the deed.
That's right.
So because of that, when people see that over time and they go, oh, I assumed I associated, but you didn't get that story from me. And even with the article, the interview that you're talking about, so many people, they saw a picture and that made it to, websites and all of that, and they go, oh, you're a sellout. And it's like, wow. But did you watch the interview?
Wow.
Did you see what I actually said and how I held it down for our organization and for our community? And the reason, with someone that right now is a vicious opponent of Black Lives Matter, seemingly like or associated with,
right?
And it's the level of respectful conversation about an issue without being emotional. No one's gonna turn into a monster and gobble me up. No one's gonna, present what they have in opposition to what I'm having because the facts are there. Stolen legislation is not working.
That's right.
Chicago would be the safest place on earth if it was. It's not. About their human rights via the Second Amendment, which is the ability to defend your human rights, is good citizenship. Right. Calling things racism that aren't racism is crying wolf. And by being objective and not just, calling that wolf, issues in our community that need to be addressed, you won't say that, oh, they just playing the race card. No, this one was clearly racism. The officer that murdered Philando Castile was clearly a horribly trained or responded horribly. Yes. At the same time, I think that Philando Castile could have moved in a less furtive manner. I'm going to maintain objectivity. People may not like it, but we don't move the needle forward or push the ball forward by dealing in extremes. I'm a bit of a Star Wars nut, and they say that the Jedi's deal in balance, and the This and the Darth, the Darth Vaders and all of those guys.
Right.
And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to maintain a balance of justice, love, positivity, education, training. And
Right.
nobody is going to convince me otherwise just because of tone of somebody's skin, white or black. I'm not going to fall victim to that.
And see, that could be something that others who want to put you in a position or rouse you to anger to make you or to make the movement falter. They'll try that. They'll try to get you emotional. They'll try to get you to say something. They'll try to, and I applaud you for having a level head and a clear focus on the objectives of what you want to accomplish. And that's a wonderful thing. But have you had anyone overtly just come at you to just try, whether it's in public or whether it's during an interview or off the camera? Have you had that kind of situation even after they heard what you had to say? We know people will say things before because of their ignorance, but have you had anyone come at you that way after you put it down and straightened it all out?
Never on camera, because they know I'll make them look really silly. I'm really good on camera and interview.
Right.
Position from the gate, and then you're trying to out debate me too, because it would be cool if I was weaker in presenting arguments and positions. Then you might win. But not only is the information sound, but I know how to express a thought.
That's right.
So they never do it on camera. That normally comes, when there's a opportune moment for them to do that for their cause. If they're anti-gun, the statistics that aren't really true, and they try to present them in a manner where it's like a barrage. So they'll try to do that. But those people don't count either because they haven't actually listened to me.
Right.
They just present the barrage. They've come with their agenda. Those people don't count. To say that I get it after someone can clearly read exactly what I'm saying and what I did say and all of that, it's social media.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, those people, I gotta say they don't count again, because trying to listen or hear
right
for enlightenment and growth, you're listening just to argue. Because if you listen to the facts, like those people that listen to the interview that would still say, you still shouldn't have done her show. Okay, well, the show had literally 1 billion views in 24 hours.
Right.
So why would I not spread what we're doing, audience?
Right.
Why would I not do that? I didn't go in there and tap dance and go in there and say, yeah. No, I didn't even change my tone. Didn't change my clothes. I wore boots.
That's right.
So those people that say that, they usually do it on social. They're just trying to get me to go back and forth with them, but that's not really real.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how they will, and I won't focus on them anymore because they're negative and they're not helping you. They're not helping anything. And it's a bit of envy, because I guess those people thrive like plants that thrive in the soil of ignorance. You know what I mean? That's what they get off on, and that's what they'll always be. So this always, no matter what or how clear you and they're always going to come at you that way. And that goes in every aspect of life. Wow. On an international level, because I know you have a lot of coverage. I have to take my hat off to you. I know how challenging social media can be, and you got to love it. And I know you got to love it because you have a tremendous amount of stuff out there. Nobody could misunderstand what you have to say. On an international level, how many people have reached out to you from other countries just to say, hey, I hear you. I like what you're doing.
A few, not as many obviously as domestically, but it's in between, and they're spread. It'll be Canada, it'll be Mexico, it'll be Australia. So it'll be a few people from those different continents,
right.
But it's nowhere near as large or and give it some time. We only been doing this for a year, but I love getting those emails or DMs or whatever. Some of the people from in Australia with their gun control is crazy.
Right.
There's people that are buying the hoodies and we shipping them off to, Sydney or Brisbane or something like that in Australia. So I love those because it's proof that your hood no more. The internet changed the playing field, and there's other people that relate, because we're talking about a human truth. When you start tapping into truth, Those things are, you know, and you can't deny those. It's touching into a core feeling that people may not have felt like they had the tools necessary to express what they're feeling, but I'm allowed to be fortunate enough to, you know, by saying it from my brain out of my mouth into the world, and it reverberates and it touches them.
That's right.
That's amazing. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's only 2 people in Australia. It's 2 people in Australia.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So,
would resonate with folks who have a parallel as far as their government and the laws are concerned. I guess I'm not so much up on this, what countries are and what are not, but you would be looked at in the movement as a savior. And I know that you're very humble. I know that you're not in this for fame. This is what you do. This is what you've been called to do. And I'm quite sure already you've saved many lives. And again, you have saved lives, man, by what you've done.
I truly appreciate it.
Seriously. And the people out here who have nothing to contribute to a human condition, you know, get with brother Maj and see what it is that you can do to help. If you can, you know, you're coming down to Miami. When are you going to come down to Miami? Exactly. Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know yet. I think it's it's February. I think it's either late. Yeah, I think it's like the middle of February or something like that.
Okay, well that's
I'll find out though. I'll post it. What we normally do is we base it off of the need, the crime levels. If something crazy happens, you know, how many people reach out to us from that area.
Right.
So that way it's a little bit more fluid. When you make a tour and it's so stagnant, you know, some people lose interest. And you might be in a city like, you know, you might be in a particular city and another city needs you a little bit more, especially for happens. And there's a lot of emotions, you know, so we do it that way.
Right.
But I think New Orleans and Miami is next.
Okay, well, you come down to Miami, obviously, because I'm in Orlando right now. I'm a transplanted New Yorker. I'm living in Orlando, and we had a situation where there was a gentleman who killed a cop. He killed the mother of his child. I'm not sure if it's his child or another child, but they broke up, and there was a manhunt going on for a while. And
yeah, I'm familiar. The brother, he cussed a judge out a few days ago at his arraignment, I think.
Yes. And the funny part about it is, you know, on the plantation level, I call it that a lot on the show, I drive a bus. And when it happened, my bus route, it just happened, and I crossed and the cops and everything, and I knew it happened before I got there. You know, I knew exactly what happened. Yeah. So Miami, yes, it's a great destination for that because there are a lot of things going on down there, and it's a very intense place, and you'll be received well. Yeah. Wow. There's so many things. When I was looking over your stuff for the last few days, and I just got back in from New York City, and I was explaining before you called in, it's a lot of things happening all over the place that really don't get the press. And one of your interviews, you mentioned how with the press, and that goes with anything, and I can imagine and know, it's a love-hate relationship where you have something that's kind of off the radar of what they want to present in one category, but they can shut down and just refuse to cover a movement or a person with a good message. Have you experienced that a lot?
No, because for several reasons. One, this is a conversation that can't be shut down. Two, social media. Three, a lot of the platforms I've been, you know, fortunate to be on platforms, but it's spreading because I'm not just talking about guns. Initially, you know, Breitbart and the other organizations were great to have me, you know, but not only I'm saying kind of what they already agree with, but I'm adding a different element that they've never heard it that way.
Yes.
So that, boom, that's good. Then, you know, later on, you know, black media is starting to pick us up. Ebony media is always there because independent media is always, in my experience, is a little bit more objective.
Right.
And they don't have the same corporate restrictions per se, you know.
Exactly.
So because of what I am and what we're doing, the sweet spot, the only people that's disagreeing are anti-gun people, you know. And I mean, I did Hannity, who isn't anti-gun, but that's still Fox, you know. So I'm just, by maintaining a certain level of truth and, again, objectivity, We don't run into them because the people don't want us. We reach out to them anyway. You know, and so maybe they'll reach out, but and social media, you know, the internet. I mean, you know, like you said, you just went through videos. That's stuff that we put on YouTube. You know, so we actually don't need anyone to get our message out in that sense of need. Like, you won't be heard at all if it's not on this, because YouTube, and you know how powerful Google is, you know,
Yes.
so like, nah, we don't really run into that. If anything, we may get some person that isn't well informed on what we're doing. You know, like there's a on-air personality up here in Philadelphia. You know, she was very rude because she doesn't really know what we're doing. She just saw that, you know, I did an interview with Tommy and said, "Oh, no, thank you." You know, but okay, wow. But did you watch the interview? You know, no. Oh, well, we won't be doing anything if she's involved. Well, she's not. You know, we did the interview with her. We were sending you clips to let you know what we're about. You know, so those are the only things that I run into. But those people don't really have power. They don't have the power like you have to create a platform and then.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, you know, I get it, but the general public, they can continue to trick those people because the general public think that most on-air personalities are the top dogs at the radio station, and they're not. It's not a knock on other on-air personalities, and that's the truth of the matter. There's a hierarchy. And we get plenty of, you know, radio and internet and all that other stuff. So I'm going to be appreciative, and the message is going to spread because we're going to remain in that truth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to be representatives for the hood. We're going to be, you know, we're going to live life. We're going to love. We're going to joke. We're going to laugh. We're going to defend what we believe in. You know, and that in essence is every citizen of America, you know, and it's almost every human, you know, to love the things that you love and to have the ability to defend the things that you love. And the positivity to hope that you never have to defend them. So regardless of what platform it is, that truth is always going to resonate. If it's 20 people, if it's 200 people, if it's 200,000, if it's 2 million.
Right.
That truth is a human emotion that's going to resonate, and the people are going to respond. This ain't me. It's the people.
That's right. Wow. Well, with the anti-gun people, I'll call them that because it's just in so many different categories. But those who are like, listen, we don't need guns. We don't want guns. What you're doing is a bad thing. It could be good coming out of it. And you try to let them know it's not the gun, it's the person behind the gun. How have you converted some of those who were just so determined to not ever think any other way?
Yes. One of our first interviews this year in Philly was a journalist. And she told me from the beginning, she said, you know, I am anti-gun. I said, well, thank you. Good. I'm glad to let me know because I understand. And she was like, you know, just as a journalist, I'm going to be objective, da-da-da-da. We hung out for about 2 or 3 days. She did actually, in the story not long after that, she did go buy an AR-15 to see exactly what the process was, you know, but she technically is a gun owner.
Wow.
But outside of that extreme of maybe, you know, where I'm at philosophically, but she said it herself. She said, I'm not where I was when we first had to do this story. And I respect activity.
Right.
You know, and so yes, in that sense, absolutely. That's because she was already being objective. See, some people say they're objective as journalists or anti-gun people, whoever, and they're not.
That's right.
So she was objective. She just was objective and honest enough to say, I am anti-gun. And by the end of our hanging out, her saying, I'm not necessarily anti-gun anymore, but I don't know if I'm pro-gun. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's the information and the truth, a lot of the things that she had heard, or that's not true. Here's the actual facts. That's not true. This is how this process goes.
That's right.
But what about loopholes? That's not a real thing. Every legal purchase in America, at a gun show, at a person, you have to fill out a 4473, which is a federal form. There is no loophole. That's just a term. That's like black on black crime. It's crime.
Right.
You don't hear the term white on white crime,
right.
Spanish on Spanish crime. Designed to get a certain type of people thinking a certain way. Same thing with loopholes. Pick it up. You know, and we had those conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, she changed her perspective based on facts, patient, and that's the point. That's the point. That's why they don't educate us on these things, and they shouldn't.
Right. That's right. Wow. This is amazing. With the laws from state to state, do you feel that you focus more in certain areas than others? Do you have more to ignorance is concerned? Because we know that for some reason in the inner cities, in the so-called urban areas, we know those are code words. It's sort of like there's more ignorance there, even though we have, and I won't say more because I don't know the statistics, but we have lots of violence and killings. And let's use Chicago as an example. Let's use them as an example. Because you spoke there and you had a presence there. What did you see there at this place that was supposed to be the worst of the worst, and you can't go outside and there are bullets flying and it's the OK Corral? The shared what you had to share and kind of navigated around that kind of shocked you. Like, was it more of a response, or were people out of their mind because they use Chicago as the standard? With us, what your experience was there, and to kind of debunk a lot of the hype that's put on Chicago.
I was in Chicago. We were in Englewood. We moved around. We bought news cameras to Englewood.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the movies. I didn't have a gun. None of my team got shot. You know what I mean? It
Right.
didn't happen that way.
Right.
Is there issues in Chicago? For sure, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing that I noticed about Chicago, as far as the participants that came out to the event, was nervousness and fear. And it was doubled down by,
Mm-hmm.
they've noticed that their politicians were trying to make them very weak, in the sense of, you're making it harder for us to have firearms to defend ourselves and potential opposed to, and we don't trust you to do it because you're clearly not doing it.
Right.
So, excuse me. So they were a little bit hamstringed in that regard. They also had a lot of relief after we walked them through a lot of the information in the presentation. You know, so them even knowing, okay, I got to go here to get my FOID card.
Mm-hmm.
I got to do this, and knowing the process alone was enough to make them breathe a sigh of relief.
Yes.
But when they came in, it was a gray cloud. It's like, what's going on? What do I do? You know, I cannot wait. I mean, that's a heck of a rock in the hard place for the government to do it, and they shouldn't, because they aren't fixing anything.
Mm-hmm.
See how these politicians making more rules is fixing it, because it's not. And I don't even know where to go to start the process. So, and so that's what I saw in Chicago from the rank and file. As far as the people, though, good people. Good soil. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like every city. They're just missing the information. They're just missing somebody to package it, and that's what we're doing.
Mm.
Packaging it, linking them with reputable instructors from their community, and helping them, lawyers as well, helping them to foster that relationship. So when Black Guns Matter, when Maj leaves, when we leave, they still know who they can go to,
Right.
where they can train, who they can hire for quick lawyer situations. This is why it's empowering, because we're linking up communities with business, tax-based.
Right.
That's what I said earlier. Now you're talking about manufacturing. Let's get the legislation is not working. It's time to repeal some of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Get them out the way. You've tried this way. You know, homicides and break-ins in Texas are lower. You know, a lot of other states in the country.
Right.
Because there's a culture of Texas that, you know, people probably have a shotgun in the house. You know, don't mess with Texas.
Right.
We
Right.
can change that culture to an American culture, which is people are responsible, safe firearm owners that are trained, well educated, and respect the tool.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that starting in the hood. You know, so that's why we're being received the way that we're being received. Again, it's not because I'm so cute or so handsome, because the people are going, hey, this makes sense for us.
Right.
We like this. No urban area person is telling you something generally. They're not telling you they like something consistently. I'm from Philly. We are quick to tell you, yeah, man, get out of here. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like you. I don't like your sweater. It doesn't matter.
Well, see, you're my cousin coming up in New York. I understand that Philly and New York are close cousins, you know? So
and we would tell you in a heartbeat, nah, cuz that's corny. We ain't rocking with that.
You ain't lying. But you know what, though?
You know what I'm saying?
Why doing is so unique and so powerful? But usually when you find a movement that is on point and powerful, there was always something else a little ahead of it that didn't take. Why hasn't a Black Guns Matter movement, maybe not necessarily packaged that way, but why hasn't there been any attempts to those in the inner city, those who are Black and inner city, which are not just Black, but why hasn't this happened before?
Because I think other organizations wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've tried to rebrand it. To do that, there's a certain truth that you have to acknowledge. I think some of these organizations, a chunk of their membership is law enforcement. True. Because that's who pays their dues.
True.
You can't tell the truth. You can't say, you know, hey, there's a bigger segment of law enforcement officers that are corrupt than we have been willing to admit. You can't say that. It's the blue wall of silence foolery.
Right. So
because of that, you gamble in between, okay, can I say this? Do I get the new money or do I hold on to the old money? Opportunity for not having to lean on any of these organizations. Okay, you didn't want to do it, we're going to do it. Period. I'm not waiting on the president, I'm not waiting on the politician. Just going to get the people the information and go put them through the process. That's it. You know, so the savior is self, you know, and not looking for, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe just people that had a heart. I'm not afraid of anything. People tell me, well, be careful, man, because you know how that ends. They kill people for that. My name Maj. It's one of me. I don't know about anybody else, and I'm not even letting that thought in my face.
That's right.
Nah, not me. We good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, oh, you know the cops ain't going to. That's not true. We talking about legal, responsible firearm ownership. So what do you mean? What if a corrupt cop? Well, he or she can disagree all day, and I'm strapped. So if you want to play that game, then that's fine. You know, but that ain't gonna happen because you know you're wrong. You're gonna stop and you're gonna mumble and you're gonna. These guys don't know what they. Okay, you can say that, and that's that. So none of those things are gonna fit. I don't have a fear of these things. My highest element is justice and that principle, and so I'm fearless. So maybe everybody else before me was a little nervous. Or they moved a little differently. I used to ask myself that question, like, damn, you know, things that maybe they led with religion. I don't. Maybe they led with to be a poor righteous teacher. I don't believe in that. Get rich. I'm afraid to say American.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
I lived there my whole life.
That's right.
Maybe they wanted to just focus on the negatives. Not me. Maybe they wanted to isolate and ostracize themselves from law enforcement. Not me. If you're a good cop, I'm going to say, hey, that's a good job. If you're a corrupt cop, to say you're a corrupt cop. The middle. I think people were creating boxes for themselves. I care about any of those boxes, and I respect everyone else's box.
Yes.
I don't care about any of those boxes for me, but I will defend. I'm with you. You're right. Existing whatever box. Even if I don't box, that's your box. You're my man.
Right.
I rock with you in that box.
Right.
You got the right to defend that box. You Christian? Cool. You Muslim? Cool. You gay? Cool. You Black? Cool. You from suburbia? Cool. You know, I'm actually a well-rounded person.
That's what helps.
You know,
That's what helps.
That's the only person I can recognize.
Well, you know what? You're perfectly made for this. Nothing before its time. And I didn't mean to diss you when I asked that question with this statement, but the time is now. It's divine. You're made for this purpose. You're perfectly made for this, man. I watch a lot of the videos and things, and I caught on. I'm like, this is history. This is history in the making. You know, lots of times we look back, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, different leaders, and we say, wow, you know, but at one point when they were alive, maybe all the people at a particular time didn't appreciate what they were doing. After they're gone, or a little bit of time goes by where you can pull away and put it in perspective. And right now, I can see it already. And there were people who back then in Malcolm's days or Martin's days, they saw it, right? So I see it. I see what you're doing, and it can't go back. This can't be forgotten. Just the name Black Guns Matter, it can't go back with your energy and how it's, you know, you're creating this righteous tsunami across the country and eventually across the world. It's something that I'm honored to speak to you. Yes.
Thank you.
It really
and
is.
You know what else I can attribute it to?
Mm-hmm.
Got information age. We got the internet. We got these cool phones. The message spreads fast. You know?
Hashtags.
So the misconceptions can't exist but for so long unless you just choosing to hold on to that misconception.
That's right.
It's just like anybody else who go through well, what did he say about this? Oh, cancer. Or you would be biased. In 5 seconds, you can get past that bias with information.
That's right.
That's another factor. You know, I can only imagine what Garvey would have done if he had the internet.
Oh, wow.
So,
imagine that.
You get what I'm saying? So, you know, and, you know, like you said, it's timing. You know, sometimes it's not, it's just seasons. You put a seed in the ground, I don't care what you do. If it ain't spring, it's going to be in the ground until spring. That's it.
Yeah, but imagine that. I mean, they did it. Okay, you know, our brother Muhammad Ali passed away. And every time, it's like there's a new clip of something. And I'm the biggest Muhammad Ali fan. I don't care if you say, well, we got a problem. But we're always finding new things. It's like, wait a second. He did this. He lived it, but he did this before social media. And there's so much stuff out there. He's with people who have it and don't know how to use it. Could you imagine if it was out there in that day? So those of us who have something that we're doing, there's no excuse to understand. It's like when we first connected on Twitter. I'm accessible. But when you hit me back, I was like, yo, I love this guy. Because you know how to use it. Because that phone in our hand is a potential righteous sword that we can use to chop off the head of ignorance and whatever it is that we're dealing with.
Did you say that? Because, you know, captives in different parts of the globe of slavery, and like places, let's say like Jamaica, one of their chief exports was, you know, sugarcane, and the plantations was trees or whatever. And most of the captives had machetes on them, and they outnumbered the overseers or even the plantation owners or whatever, like 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1. But in their hand, they actually had a thing that they could fight for their own liberation. You got a weapon.
Right.
Your mind was so conditioned that you never thought to turn around and chop the horse, chop the person that was enslaving you. That's right. Went along with it. iPhones are like that.
Yes.
You got all of the information in the world to break down any oppression, ignorance, right there. You playing Candy Crush.
So right. You're so right. Look at these ratchet fights and twerking videos and all this different stuff. Hate each other. It's crazy. It's amazing. And then people turn around and say, "SCURV, you don't know. I just don't do that stuff. I have no choice but to do." You know? And why? Yeah. I mean, I know you see it. But you choose to do what you do, and it's effective. It's so very effective. But our minds have been numbed on around us, you know, and we're captivated with the decadence, yet we'll go and complain about what's not growing and happening in our own community. We got to reach out to people righteously, man. We got to try to encourage people to use the social media the right way. It's very powerful. Because how do you feel about this? Do you think with movements like yours and all of the righteous movements that are out there, do you think that broad term the oppressive powers that be will try to halt it or stop it or just monitor it. What are your feelings on that?
They can. I welcome them to monitor it. We're totally transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they should get behind it. The work that we're doing is going to be good for entire economy. Create jobs because of this.
Yes.
That's the goal. Gun ranges, manufacturing, tax base. What legalization of marijuana did for the economy is what firearms training in urban America can do for tax bases across the entire country. This is business.
Mm-hmm.
Business.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we at with it.
Hmm.
This isn't a threat to America, it's for America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so to pretend like, oh, people shouldn't look, yes, you should. You should say these people are doing good things that's going to be good for all American citizens. That's what we're doing. When we go into talking about abandoned factories and, okay, guys, we need $2 million to build this into a gun range. Now we need 20 employees. Tax incentives. This is the money that we made and blah, 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 blah. This is good for business. This is good for our children. This is good for social situations across America. When you're talking about holster manufacturing, I need for these replica training firearms,
mm-hmm.
how many jobs we can create. People are going to become instructors. There should be training firearm schools like there are massage therapy locations.
Yes.
So they should monitor us. They already are. If anything was funny style, they would have been stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the difference between me and other people.
Right.
If anybody thinks this is holistic. There's no way that you can't be. I don't subscribe to that philosophy that you can't be for your community. Community's wallet. You can do that. You can do that. You can get rich and wealthy and make your neighborhood cool off of safety, education, training, and informing. This needs to benefit the community. Benefiting the community ain't just exercise the Second Amendment right. Now, how do you add that in along with being productive for your neighborhood? Productive for, elected officials that are in alignment with that, productive for them. They don't have to travel so far because they live in a community outside of the community that they're the council person. That same Shangri-La of safety and not having to worry instead of just only feeling that way in center city. So yes, I'm not afraid of them monitoring my pages are all public. Drug dealer money popping off. We are fully transparent.
That's right.
Instead of hiding and monitoring from the shadows, come help. I'm giving you a platform and a formula fully help that can actually, on several levels, deal with some of the issues that we're having, applying solutions. We all in America. Let's get money. Let's be safe. Let's be informed, and let's be educated.
Wow. That you told it right there. There's so many things that I could ask even more so, but I know you're very busy and your time is limited. I'm not ending it, but if you had to go, I know you're busy. Wow, I got to have you on again and again and again. But when you do come to Miami, and I'm going to be keeping in touch, of course, I'm going to come down there and I want to get a little interview with you face to face on my camera and kind of not follow you around, but just kind of give people something a little more in depth, not just when you're on the stage speaking or whatever, you got to have private moments, but, just pretty much, hey, let me shadow you for a little bit and let them see what an hour or two in the life of Brother Maj is all about. And I think that would come up wonderful. And I wouldn't put up anything.
I'm totally with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't put up anything that you don't approve, but I know you know how to handle yourself when the cameras are rolling. Not that you would do anything that you shouldn't, but some people are kind of like, oh, I don't know about that. but I think that that would be wonderful. So about 2.5 hour drive away from there. So even if it was the last moment that you got down there or we missed each other, whatever, I definitely want to be down there to do that, because I'm fully behind what you're doing, man. Because again, at the end of the day, you're saving lives. And that's really what it's all about.
No doubt.
And you're inspiring
Sure.
people. You're inspiring people that you can take something, not that you come out of the rubble. I'm just saying this symbolically because I speak that way. But
Right.
you're unearthing things out of the rubble that were formerly dead. And you're waking people up
Right.
as to what can happen and what they can do potential-wise. Even with firearm, right? That business of firearms. Why don't more of us have shops? Why is it that when we go and you know, practice, we have to go somewhere else? That's not always the case, and this is not tie anybody else, but let us get some of that money. Why do some of the
Right.
law enforcement officers have to go elsewhere when they can stay close by? And I totally get what you're saying. It's a wonderful thing, and all the memorabilia, the holsters, the ammunition, the classes, the groups, the motorcycle groups, you know what I mean? Just whatever. It's so much, and that's not going to go away. So let's get some of this. Like you said, Philadelphia style, let's go get some of this money.
For sure. Hey, I'm down with that. I am going to get out of here because I got
Yes.
interviews and everything like
Yes.
that, and I'm super hungry.
Been licking my lips. I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I just came back from New York where all the water was sucked out of me because there's no humidity. I'm back down in Florida. I love my people up north, but you know what I mean? I came back, put my shorts, my t-shirt on, and you know, like I said, even when I come up there, man, I'll look you up. But wrap up with the last few words, man, and we'll bounce and we'll be back, man. Contact
Sure.
with
And
you. Tell everybody how
Yeah, if anybody-
social media. Go ahead.
Yeah, if anybody wants to hit me up, my Twitter is at Maj Toure, MAJTOURE, Maj Toure. Same as my Instagram. The page is official Black Guns Matter _ Maj Toure. Y'all can hit me there, social media. If you just want to hit me up, talk, tweet, chat about life. If you want to support, you can hit me there. If you want to support, if you just want to make a donation, GoFundMe.com / Black Guns Matter. That's BigCartel.com / Black Guns Matter, hoodie, t-shirt. We are totally funded by donations and hoodie and mug sales. He has us in our pocket at all. You know, so if you want to support, you can there. Or outside of that, if you just want to hit me up on social media, you're going through something, you want to talk, DM me. I'll send you my number. We can talk about stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes, man, you just need an ear. So
Right.
whichever way y'all want to do with it, I'm here. I'll make myself available to y'all.
And I know you're a law-abiding citizen, but you are about to be guilty of assault, and so am I, assaulting that food. So go to it, my brother. Thank you so much.
For sure.
And we're going to connect,
Thanks.
and I hope everybody follows through and shows support. Donate to the cause, share the links, listen to this wonderful brother's videos, and come out when he comes into a town near you or into your town. On that note, I'm going to come back later on, folks, maybe another hour or two. I'm going to put another link up. 3 more shows tonight. We're going to grind. And brother, if you want to come back, you can do that too. Thank you so much, brother, for writing us. And I'm walking away a better man. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Peace.
Appreciate it.
Peace. Definitely.
Peace.
Interview, and I'm not going to ramble on and mess up the high that we're on, but it was really wonderful. And I didn't want to stretch it out even longer. I know brother's hungry. He is definitely on a grind, and I really appreciate that he's traveling, he's writing, he's doing the videos, he's speaking, and I can totally get with that. So many of us come out here on social media and want to look. The brother, he gets his donations, but I'm quite sure when donations weren't coming in, and still is. I mean, things I have to do, I got to dig in my pocket and do what I have to do. Donations have come my way, but I'm not out here on it. It's all about the spirit, because you all have donated to me in spirit, some cash, that's cool, but in my spirit, and telling me what you want to hear. An interview of the kind of shows and topics that we have here. And there are a lot of people out here who are doing it. So support those folks too if they're doing something wonderful. Support me, support them, whoever it is out here, because we're one big family. We're one big family, human family, We're a Black family. You know, you have your family, your community family, people you grew. We have different families that we're in. So anything to make that better for everyone, I'm with it. Just like Brother Maj said, even if I'm not in that box that you're in, I support you. And I like that. And I hope he doesn't mind, but I'm going to steal that one. I'm going to use that one too. It's all love. Anyway, I'm going to run right now. I'm hungry. I'm not Cool J. Look at my lips like this, but I'm thirsty. My lips are all white. Look, I'm getting pale. I was up in New York. I wasn't getting any sunlight. Got to get some sunlight. I wake up this week. But yes, stay tuned. Reason when I put links up, the notification doesn't go out. Channel. I'm gonna make some. I have to make a phone call with someone. We will speak on Eddie Long in depth a little more. Thank you, Deborah J. Mr. Tarver, Marcy, Pierre, Sweetberry, everybody else, Jeffrey. There's so many names here, and so many people have been hitting me on the phone. You know, if I missed you, I still love you. But I want to speak about Eddie Long tonight. We're going to go deep on that. And this brother had some wonderful points. It won't be a Eddie Long bashing show like many people say that I've had before. But on an intellectual level, we're going to go in deep. He's an actor. I'll put his name out. He's been in so many great shows, and so you're going to be shocked and whatnot. So anyway, thank you for saying it's a great show. Great audience. Thank you for being here. The intelligence. Again, I have to commend you guys who listen. The lack of drama, right? Drama, little arguments, debate, that can be intense. That's cool. But people who ride and thrive on drama, who hang out in like in the shadows, like in the chat room, watching and reaching out to people, and this one said this and this person doesn't like that. 17, y'all. If you got time for that kind of mindset, pretty much your life is jacked up. Your life is jacked up. I'm not saying it on a condescending level, but if you have time for that kind of drama and you're 25, 30, 40, 50, something, and you got that time to just dominate your mind with these people who you may not know. You may not have ever seen them. I'm connected to so many wonderful people that I may not see them in person. Out to Tracy D. We sat and I with her, and we had lunch at a Thai restaurant right there on 43rd and 8th. It was wonderful. You know, just the sincerity, her love, her heart, beautiful. And when you come down, Tracy, you got to get on the show, whether you sit on the other side of the table or over here with me. But it was wonderful. And there were others who have reached out. Rachel, we had a chance to meet for the first time. Several others who didn't want their name put out there. But it was wonderful. And like I said, if you have time for that kind of drama, your life is jacked up. And you need to take that energy and focus it in on improving your life. Because you know what? My life is not perfect, but I'm trying my best to make my life better. Not on a materialistic level, but better in how I interact with people, better in making my presence something of a plus, so that when they see me coming in, they don't say, oh God, here comes Scurv. We don't want to see this guy. But I want you to want me. I want you to want me. How's the song go? Right? Plus to people. I want what I do to be something that I can leave behind. It's not about me. It's just my corner of cyberspace. That's all it is. I'm not trying to be this, or that, but I did have some really wonderful, great news come out. On that note, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to get something to eat. We'll be back tonight 2 or 3 times over. I got to catch up. I haven't been able to do shows because I've been traveling. I've been in New York City, and I've been grinding when I was up there because I connected with certain people. I made certain connections. But it's, to put it this way, it's going to be a good year. All right. Anyway, shout out to Star, Shot 97. Thanks for the phone call, man. You know I got you. Anyway, take care. You know I love you all. We'll talk a little while.